Okay, so here's how the system works for mine on Wordle. So obviously, sorry about the bottom bit here, but I always start with the first two words, unless there's a really obvious reason why I shouldn't. So I will start with irate, and then the second word is sound. And the reason I start with those two words is because that covers all the vowels. A, E, I, O, U, and also most of the most common letters that are used in any words over here. So I had a look online and worked out what the most common letters are in the English alphabet, and those are some of the most common letters. I often have mulch as the option for the third word. So I'll just write that down here, mulch, M-U-L-C-H. Now obviously that's using the U again, but M, L, C and H are all new letters that haven't been used in the first two, and they're also really, really common letters as well on the third version. So in this case, though, I don't need those because we've got a match on these where we've got, we know that the T and the E are correct, and I think we had yes, so we know that A is correct but in the wrong place, and S is correct in the wrong place. But of course, what that does mean as well is that we've also eliminated D, N, U, O, R, and I from the list, which obviously got a list over here of those ones we've knocked out. So we've knocked rid of I, R, O, N, D, I, R, O, U. Okay, so I've got rid of those letters out of the list as well. Okay, so then we're looking at, well, what's going to be in the next line? Now we know it's going to be T and E at the end here, so we know that. But what we don't want to do. Okay, so what we'll do is we know we've got T and E correct. Actually, we'll use this space at the bottom to say we know T and E is correct. We know that A can't be here, and S can't be here. And we've got 3 spaces left over here to fill. So obviously A could be here, and then or A could be here. We think it's probably, but then again we look at it and go, well, what's most likely here? And SA, normally it would be SA next to each other. I'm not sure how you do it, but you basically you kind of work out that the most likely scenario is it's A, S, T, E. That makes the most amount of sense for the next word. That's basically what I do there. And then you notice that the first letter here now could be any number of a variety of letters. So effectively that's what I'm trying to figure out on row 3 is how many letters could possibly be here. So I know, then what I'll do is I go, okay, so let's assume it is A-S-T-E at this point, which is why I put up here, I think I put something A-S-T-E over here. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. But I won't put that in here, because if I put that in there and just like something I could do like based, for example, then I know that these 4 letters are correct, so there's no point in putting them in here. So that's what I'm doing here. So then I'm looking down the list over here, and I say, well, what words could I have which end in ASTE? So it wouldn't be A-A-S-T-E, B-A-S-T-E, based. Yes, that would make sense. So then B is a possible letter over here. B is a possible letter. C, cast, actually that would be, so that's a possible word. East, that doesn't make sense. Faste, don't think that's a real word. Geist, doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. Haste, yeah, that's definitely a word. That's a possibility there. Jaced, no. Cased, no. Laced, no. Maced, no. And then P, paste, yeah, that's a possibility. Quate, no, that's not going to work. Raced, saced, no. Taste is definitely a possible word. Vaste, waste, yeah, that's a possible word. Zaste, yaste, and zaste. Okay, so those are unlikely. So we now know that we got 6 possible words that end ASTE, and they can be paste, taste, waste, haste, cast, or cased, and based. So those are all possibilities. So then what we want to try and do is on this level here, on the third row here, we want to try and use as many of these letters as we possibly can to eliminate them or figure out which ones they are. And obviously we can use the A and the S if we need to, especially in the first 3. It's a very useful thing to do. And so I went with, okay, so I'm going to use the P, the C and the T, because I'm going to guess P, A, T, C, H. Okay, so I've used the P, the T and the C, the P, the T and the C as possibilities. So that's, so that's basically what I'm doing there. But what I'm also doing is I'm testing the A, because that makes sense, because the A can't be there. So it could be one of these first 2. And if it turns out that it's here, then that's great. And of course, what we found out was that, yes, this is true for A. And now obviously T was also used, but it's in the, sorry, that should have been a yellow, because that's correct place. T is in the word, but it's in the wrong place. That's why I was going to do the T underneath there. So ignore that blue line there. Okay, so now we know that it's going to be A. Almost certainly now is ASTE for the actual word. But what we've done is we've now eliminated the P, the C, and the H. So we can eliminate those over here. P, C, and H. So we've now got 3 letters left. We've got the B, the W, and the T. So then we've got to try and find a 5-letter word that uses as many of B, T, and W as possible. Bearing in, oh, sorry, I did T. Yeah, sorry, T was already used here, so we already know it's a possibility. Well, so it doesn't make a lot of difference anyway. But it's an option. So, because it could be taste with 2 T's in it, obviously. So then, what I do is I look at, okay, so what word could I think of that could include as many of these as possible? And bearing in mind that we already know that T's in the word anyway. So if it was a T, then if we eliminated B and W, then we'd know it's probably taste. So I'm just going to look for a word that's got B and a W in it. So brown is the one that comes to mind here. So I now put in brown as a possible test word. And immediately we then find out that W is a match. So W is in, oh, I just did that wrong. God, sorry. Now I've done it the other way around. So this is correct, but it's in the wrong place in this one. Okay, it's W. So we know it's in the correct, but it's in the wrong place. We already know that N is eliminated because it was an N here. O was already eliminated here, so it doesn't matter anyway. R was eliminated here, so we already knew those 3 were eliminated. But what we did is we tested B, so we now know that B is also not in the word. So we now know it's W, A. So it's now the letters are S, A, W, T, and E. So we now know that we've got a 5-letter word that has those words in it. But because we know the location, specific location of the T, so we now know that this is T and then E from this here. We know this is A over here. We know S can't be here because that's in the wrong place, so then the S must be here. And then we also know that W is a letter that's in it as well, and it's in the wrong place, so there must be a W here. So then we guess waste, which is the correct answer. Correct, hurrah! So that's basically how we did it. So hopefully that makes sense now as to how the whole process works. The general idea is that we get as much information as we can from these first 2 letters with as many vowels as we can and some of the most common letters. And then on the third row, we then try and work out what word it could possibly be from the first information on the first 2. And if we haven't got enough information, because there has been times like that, I'll use the word mulch and try and get a bit more information. But once I've got that, it's then down to, okay, so what possible word could we have as the next guess? And then what are the options? What are the missing letters from that word? And then try and find another word that you figure out how many of these letters could possibly fill the gaps, and then work out as many words that use as many of those letters as possible on the next guesses. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Working through that one is a pretty good example because we got quite a lot of information from the first two words, but then we had, on this level, we knew it was going to be probably ASTE, but we then had 6 possible combinations with the first letter. So obviously if we just tried to guess all those, 1, 2, 3, 4, we would have still had 2 more to guess if we didn't guess them right, and we'd have run out of space to do it. So hopefully that makes a lot of sense. Let me know if it still doesn't make sense, and I'll try and explain more, I guess. Bye for now.